Anthony Richardson is a bust. Are you buying it?
I'm gonna tell you this. I have so much to say on this. I want to be crystal clear. Look, do I think that he's gonna bust in his Colts tenure? Unfortunately, yes, I do. But again, I want to let you have the floor and I want you to have your points. I think though, Ken, I think they made a big mistake not giving him a lot more time to develop. And the injury on top of everything last year is people are saying, well, what do you mean? He had a whole year to sit out. No, guys, he had a whole year to rehab. Like that's rehab time. That's right. Not all time in the facility. It's not time all in the meeting rooms. It's rehabbing, right? Like it's not like, yeah, like he's not getting that same attention, that same not care, but just yeah, attention is the right word. He's not getting that same attention to detail he'd be getting if he was actually in the building healthy. But again, I said it from the jump last year, Hunter. I think A Rich needed at least a couple years of time to develop. It's showing clearly. But if we're going to see another guy that could have like a Sam Darnold-esque development down the road, I still do think Anthony Richardson could be one of those guys. That's what I want to be clear about. I don't think that I'm out on him all the way. But as far as his Colts tenure goes, as far as the immediate future right now, I'm with you that it's not looking bright.
So, here is why I think Anthony Richardson is a bust. He is last in the league at 49.3% completion percentage, last in completion percentage over expected, which is minus 11.3 since 2018. What's available on NFL Pro, no quarterback has thrown for less than 50% completion in a season. He hasn't thrown over 50% completion percentage once this season. He has a 1 touchdown to 2 interception ratio, and he leads the league with 6 interceptions, leads the league in turnover worthy play rate, and he is the 39th ranked QB via passing grade on PFF. 26 in EPA per dropback, although he is in first in air yards per attempt and deep pass percentage. Okay. Cool, right? He's an explosive play quarterback. Unfortunately, it is not an explosive play league anymore, and the defenses have adapted, right? They're going to let you dink and dunk all the way down the field. If you can't complete short passes at a high percentage, that is not good for your offense. So what is another unfortunate statistic for Anthony Richardson is he's last in blitz rate, which means teams are only blitzing him 13.1% of the time. He has the 6th highest time to throw in the league. So basically what that means is defenses are perfectly fine playing zone, sitting back, and letting him make decisions on throwing the ball, right? What's even worse about this, Colts are graded first in pass block and first in run block via PFF through 3 games. Anthony Richardson has all the time in the world to make the right decisions, and a lot of the time he is making the wrong one. He has 22nd least amount of attempts in the league and least amount of completions through quarterbacks that have played 3 games. Of 5 completed passes in the middle of the field over 10 yards, 14 attempts, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. So he can't throw over the middle of the field. If you look at his passing charts, it's 10 yards and below, and it's to the hashes. They're not over the middle of the field. Okay. Last stat for you. That is pretty damning. 33 of his 73 passes on the year go for over 10 yards. He is 12 for 33 on those passes. 3 of those passes are touchdowns, and 4 of them are interceptions. So 9% of the time, when he throws past 10 yards, it's a touchdown. 12% of the time, it's an interception. Those are really, really bad stats for a very big, strong quarterback like that. The issue is, what is the point? We know what the issue with short quarterbacks is. They don't want to throw over the middle of the field. They want to throw to the hashes. But that's what Anthony Richardson is doing. He's also not really that big of a scrambler, even with his athletic ability. Like, yes, if he sees a lane, he'll take it. But he's not acting like Justin Fields was 2 years ago. Like he's not creating these explosive plays with his legs. So in reality, what is Anthony Richardson doing for the Colts that another quarterback couldn't? I feel like you could really throw any other quarterback in that offense, they'd be more efficient.
No, and look, Hunter, everything you said is spot on, and like that's why I want to be crystal clear. Like, look, as of right now, not only does it look bad, to your points, it looks legitimately historically bad. But here's my tangent. And look, we've talked about this for a while. We talked about this when he was coming out. This is what excuse me, I've stood on for a while and I will continue to stand on. The bottom line is this. I've gone on my spiel for a long time now about hashtag stop starting rookie quarterbacks. And I don't care how talented they are. But Anthony Richardson was in a different boat than a lot of these other rookie quarterbacks, right? We already talked about, look, on tape, you're saying to yourself, he has some of the greatest, prettiest throws you'll ever see in your life. Even back to college, he really does. But the problem with that is like you're saying, it's 1 or 2% of the time. The other 97% of the time, you're like, okay, well, the kid's footwork is not there yet. He's not there mentally yet. He's not even and back to Florida, he's not in a position where if you were watching the tape of him at Florida and you thought in any sense of your mind, I'm trying to keep it clean here, that he was going to be able to come in and translate what he was doing at Florida and that it was somehow going to translate to a high clip.
But he wasn't even doing anything good in Florida. Like that's the thing is like he consistently was not good at Florida.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what you saw the explosive plays and you saw the potential and that was it. Where if you were any type of semblance of just being realistic, you were saying to yourself, again, like I'm saying, you pulling a Jordan Love was at the least what you had to do. You had to give him at least 2 to 3 years to understand that the footwork is so far from has to be. The scanning and the precision is so far from where it needs to be. The accuracy, it was always so far away from where it needs to be. The touch throws, he doesn't call it what it is, Hunter. He
has no touch. He has no touch. He should work for USPS because of the way all his fucking shit is airmailed. He would be their top employee.
Well, no, 100%.
Know what he would be really good at? You know, like on the basketball courts when they throw the T-shirts to the fans.
Yeah,
he would be employee of the month, employee of the year, employee of the century. Honestly,
Hall of Famer, and as far as that's concerned, immediately. Yeah, if we were taking immediate
Hall of Fame T-shirt thrower.
Hall of Fame. But look, all that to say, and I think you agree, the problem is not, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that Anthony Richardson is failing the Colts. No, the bottom line is that
they failed him.
This was going to happen. The Colts are failing Anthony Richardson. And this was so obvious if you knew anything about him coming out of college, if you watched any tape at Florida, because like you're saying, Hunter, I don't know what all these, and that's why I'm so tired. I'm so tired of every year because I don't do anymore. Drake May was my example this year where I'm like, dude, it's got all the talent, right? You have so many things you got to like. And let me be crystal clear. Drake May was like light years ahead of Anthony Richardson coming out of college in terms of the things Anthony Richardson has to get better at. But I'm using Drake May as my example where I'm so tired of all these analysts every single year, these draft analysts that sit here and champion themselves, but they're not smart enough to come to the realization that 99 out of 100 of these guys are not ready to step in year one. They're just not. We see it year after year after year after year. And we sit here and we go, wait a minute, why is Sam Darnold finally? Because guys, they don't just come. These guys that are they have the talent, but they don't have the mental. What makes you think they're going to make an immediate transition in a room full of grown men, the grownest of men, where the egos are all clashing and everybody's trying to feed their family, everybody's trying to get more money? You think that just throwing a guy in here who's going to do the minimum that rookie year is going to bode well for their confidence, for the team's confidence, for the coach's confidence? I mean, Hunter, to me, it's simple. It all ties in together. And let me be crystal clear. Again, I'm not sitting here excusing how poor Anthony Richardson is playing. I'm not, because the bottom line is when you were picked that high, there are expectations. But that's the problem. And let's call it for what it was. Anthony Richardson should have never been picked that high. And I think we were all on the same train with this, right?
No, I wasn't. I'll put my hands up. I'm putting my hands up. I think the way that I have looked at quarterbacks has changed so much in just like a year. I thought Anthony Richardson could be raw. It goes to what you're saying.
To your point, he's just raw in a literal sense.
Yeah. I think it has to go with what you're saying, though, is like, and what me and you have been more seeing the tune of as of recently, like, unless you're probably like and I know this is going to sound biased because Caleb Williams, but like, unless you're the number one, like certified number one overall pick and you have tons of game experience, like Bryce Young probably shouldn't have played right away.
No,
CJ Stroud was ready.
Even guys like Caleb, that's the thing though. Even guys like Caleb, my thing is like, I think I'm going to pinpoint to this. If I can look at their footwork consistently and say, okay, the footwork, there's really two things you can tie it into. The footwork is the number one thing where it's like, okay, if their footwork isn't perfect coming out, that is a really big thing. Like a lot of people just, they think the quarterback just drops back and the footwork has nothing to do with it. No, the footwork is actually like the entire rhythmic process of how they make their reads, especially in these West Coast offenses that 90% of teams are running, 80% of teams are running nowadays. It's all rhythm, it's all timing, it's all muscle memory. So if you think you're going to pull a guy and that if they don't have all the footwork down, and that's where CJ Stroud was different, Hunter, and where nobody talks about this, but where CJ Stroud was different is that CJ Stroud, the one thing you could point to that was crystal clear is, my God, the footwork is pristine, and he clearly understands exactly where his feet need to be at all times to get the ball exactly where it needs to be, pinpoint. And again, hand up on this again, like you said, because I'm with you where the way I evaluate quarterbacks now is so different because of the lessons I have learned over the last couple of years, right? All the stuff that we think that matters coming out, the off platform, all that fun stuff. It's stuff that once you get the footwork and the rhythm down, all that stuff is the cherry on top. But the cake and the entire batter is the footwork. And so if you're coming out of college and the footwork is not pristine, where CJ Stroud is the one example over the last however many years where the footwork is perfect, we'll go figure to expect that they are not going to be able to make the transition right away because the footwork is the rhythm and the rhythm is the magic. And I don't know how more clear I can be about it because at this point, Hunter, that is the bottom line going forward as far as QB evaluation goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest thing, and then we can move on to your last overreaction, is just kind of what we said. Like, it's unfortunate because a lot of these, you're willing to bet like most quarterbacks need time to sit, and I would agree. And I would also argue that most busts that are quarterbacks or just any position are usually failed by the coaching and not the actual talent. And obviously there are players that bust out just because, and it doesn't have to do with coaching, but a lot of the time it is coaching, eagerness to play, win now type mode. Like,
yeah, win now, but then simultaneously throwing away the entire value of the guy you spent your first round pick on.
The win now, the only time I've seen win now really work is with the Rams. The Rams did the win now and they won,
But it was approached much differently. Again, they spent all the capital on guys that were experienced. Yeah. So it's a whole different story, but it's a great point.
Yeah. So basically, it's unfortunate, but I don't see Anthony Richardson working out. I mean, I think their best bet, honestly, is to kind of do what Carolina did with Bryce Young. It's pretty obvious, like even with the game experience, Bryce Young was not ready to see the NFL field. Anthony Richardson damn sure was not. So it's unfortunate, but if they want to, there's still time to save this. Like, he's still super young and he's only in his second year. Like, let's not drag this out to where everyone's like, oh, it's over. Like, it is very clear he's not ready to be on the field right now. So